Drake London is a monster. When I was watching film on him, Ryan and Maz, and he intimidates the DBs. He intimidates the safeties. Linebackers don't want to tackle him.
And he's a Lion fan.
If you were watching these guys and you get your pick of the litter, how are you separating these guys? Because they all seem like they're going to be can't-miss prospects in the NFL. And I was just curious your take on that. So you did a little bit of homework.
I did some homework, man. I was looking at the top 6 wide receivers in this upcoming draft, at least in my opinion. The top 6 wide receivers in this upcoming draft. The one thing you will notice in the analysis is, man, all these guys can run routes. All these guys are fast. When I was coming out, before I was coming out, even halfway between now and when I came out, there were guys with questions. Guys had to learn how to run routes. Guys had decent speed. All these guys are burners. All these guys can run, and they all run good routes. I think it also starts with what we talked about. Guys are 12, 13, 14 years old, man. Their dads, their moms, their coaches, their guardians, they're pushing them in the direction of getting this skill work from individual coach, independent coaches, and they're going to a lot of these camps. So that's why you're seeing this. Coming in at number 1 on my, by the way, look at this graphic.
Hell of a graphic.
Hell of a graphic by my man, Al Mayer. Great graphic, as always. Number 1 on my board, I got Garrett Wilson. The reason why I have him, he's an excellent route runner. He's listed at 6 foot tall, but plays a lot better. You saw that catch that he had in the end zone against Michigan over Gray. Just great ball skill, great ability. His leaping ability is outstanding. He can run all the routes in the route tree. He can run 1 through 9. He's very deceptive, runs real good. Great body lane, and he plays well on the sideline. Kind of like an Antonio Brown type wide receiver, the way he controls that sideline and the way he catches the ball with his hands. He's number 1 in my book, 6 foot. Like I said, he plays like he's 6'3". Number 2, Drake London. Drake London is a monster. When I was watching film on him, Ryan and Maz, I didn't know I was going to see somebody that was that good, was that polished. I didn't see it. Physical, the way he plays the game is kind of like a David Boston type receiver, little taller, little faster. And don't be scared of the 6'5" size or the 6'4". Oh, he's 6'5". He breaks down routes just like a little guy. He runs kind of like Julio Jones. Julio Jones was a taller wide receiver, but he still was able to run all the routes. Very good on the sideline as well. Catches with his hands, and he intimidates the DBs. He intimidates the safeties. Linebackers don't want to tackle him. Receivers, DBs can't tackle him. Safeties can't tackle him. Runs all the routes as well. Drake has energy. He plays with a type of energy that nobody else, no other wide receiver in the NFL can match right now.
And he's a Lion fan.
And he's a Lions fan.
You talk about Wilson and London. I mean, those are 2 guys that seem to have separated themselves from the rest.
100%. I think Wilson and London have separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Still, we'll get into the rest of it. There's still some great guys after them. But those 2, they seem like they've separated. I think what Wilson did last year, going into the season, Chris Olave was the guy. And then here comes Wilson. And then Wilson, slowly but surely, he starts getting a lot of passes. He starts becoming the guy in crunch. And then also you have Jackson Smith and Jigba. And then Drake London was just a monster. I'm telling you, when you watch him play, he plays with a level of physicality that I haven't seen in the NFL in a long time. I was trying to go down the list of guys in the NFL that I might can compare him to. Julio doesn't play that physical. Mike Evans doesn't play that physical. I had to go back to David Boston to kind of describe the type of physicality in which he plays with.
Do you believe either of these 2 wide receivers, Garrett Wilson or Drake London,
neither one of them are making it past 9?
Will either one of them have the as close to the impact that Jamar Chase did this year in Cincinnati?
Garrett Wilson, depending on the team that drafts, so I think Garrett Wilson can have that impact. And the thing about it is Garrett Wilson is in line with that Justin Jefferson, that Jamar Chase, a guy that could come in and play now. See, that's another reason why these NFL teams aren't necessarily mad that these prime 1 wide receivers are leaving and going to get the bag somewhere else, because these guys are ready. These guys are coming out of college ready to play now. They're ready to run routes now. They're ready to catch passes and be in the Pro Bowl now. Look at Jalen Waddle last year. Jalen Waddle over 1,000 yards. Justin Jefferson over 1,000 yards. Jamar Chase over 1,000 yards. And Garrett Wilson will be no different. Drake London will be no different. Number 3 on my list, got to go with Jameson Williams. If Jameson Williams doesn't tear his ACL, he's probably number 1 on this list. I think he ended up having the best wide. I think he had the best year last year. His yards per catch is amazing. He's over 20 yards per catch. He can run all the routes. He tracks the deep ball exceptionally well. And that's what you need in the NFL. We're talking about Tyreek Hill. What does he do? He goes and gets the D ball, over 20, 50-yard touchdowns in the past 6 years. That's what Jamison Williams is going to provide you. He's going to provide you that deep ball threat, tracks balls, does well on the sideline as well, stacking DBs, getting the pass interference, makes a lot of those 50-50 calls. That's what you need, those 50-50 balls. If I'm not catching it, I'm getting the pass interference, the ball's going down the field. You saw what he was able to do in the SEC last year with Bryce Young. Extremely talented wide receiver. You just hope the ACL isn't going to be an issue, and it shouldn't be.
So London, Wilson, Olave, I think many of us believe they would all be gone before the Lions were to pick. And again, this was before we saw the deal today and the deal earlier last week with Adams gone with Green Bay and now Hill gone with Kansas City. You've got 4 picks, 22, 28, 29, and 30 that go to those two teams. I think many Lions fans were hoping either Williams, Dotson, or Burks would get to the Lions at that point.
With Jamison Williams, you're hoping that the injury plays a significant part of that. You hope that people are scared or nervous or have some hang-ups with his ACL. He did tear it later in the year. He tore it in the SEC championship. He tore it in the national championship game. So with that, it's kind of a later injury. You're hoping teams pass on him because of that. But ACLs are becoming a thing of a dime a dozen. Coaches aren't getting mad. Look at Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin tells his ACL and gets paid the bag. Right. Odell Beckham tears his ACL in the Super Bowl. Is an older wide receiver, tore that same ACL the year before that. And the Rams still said, oh no, don't worry. Got rid of Robert Woods to keep Odell Beckham. And speaking of Robert Woods, he tore his ACL as well, and Tennessee paid him a handsome price. The guy out of here that the Lions might have a chance of getting is Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks is still an enigma. Now, you have him kind of like an A.J. Brown type player where he can play wide receiver, he can play running back more like a Deebo Samuel as well. He's physical. His size is amazing, 6'3", 225. A lot of people hang up on that 4'5". He'll get smaller. He'll get smaller. You get in the NFL, you get around these guys, everybody goes vegan, everybody's eating well, everybody's working out, everybody's hard. You got these quarterbacks that want you to maximize your ability. He won't be 6'3", 225 for long. At the end of next year, he'll probably be around 6'3", 218 to be his playing weight. Guy can fly. I don't see him getting caught. He may say 4'5" on the sheet. I haven't seen him get caught from behind, and he plays in the SEC. And the SEC, guess what? They can run. Haven't seen him runs good routes. Still a little bit raw in there, but I like him. If you're hoping to get a wide receiver, I think this could be a guy that falls to the Detroit Lions and Treylon Burks. And then Jahan Dotson. Jahan Dotson is a guy that Maz love, I love, out of Penn State. Man, he catches everything. Had 138 targets last year. He only had 2 drop passes. You know, the season would have been a little bit better if Clifford was hurt. I mean, was not hurt, but he was. It is what it is. Fast guy, not as fast as these guys. Jahan Dotson's more of a 4'4" guy, not as fast as some of these other guys. These 4.32s, 4.38s, but runs the same all game. Jerry Rice ran a 4.6 coming out. But Jerry Rice played at 4.5 the whole game, the entirety of the game. And that's what you see out of Jahan Dotson. Very skilled guy, smart guy too. They use him in a lot of situations where he kind of controlled the huddle, a lot of direct snap, things like that. Jahan Dotson's a complete player, and he also blocks as well as catch passes. You saw the Michigan State game in the snow. Oh my God, he was just brilliant in that game. He almost was the single reason why why Penn State beat Michigan State. Jahan Dotson, gotta love him. Gotta love this wide receiver class, man. Like, this is the new wave of wide receivers. Like, they used to say receiver was the position that it takes the longest to get acclimated to the NFL. Guess what? That BS is over. We are here to play. We are here to stay. In this draft class, fire.
I'll tell you what, maybe Ohio State's not quarterback you, but they are wide receiver you.
Yeah.
And I would love to have either one of those two guys. There's a part of me that thinks Olave is going to be the best of the whole bunch.
You're absolutely right about that, because we failed to realize Jamison Williams went to Ohio State first.
Yep.
And transferred.
Yeah,
and you
got
got
out of there.
McLaurin and
And look
Paris
at
Campbell.
next year what they're going to give
Jackson
you.
Jackson and Jigba.
Oh my God.
Jackson Smith and Jigba is like top 5 already before the season even
It's
starts.
unbelievable.
He'd have been a top 5 pick this year if he was allowed to come out.
So I mean, it's great draft class.
I want one so bad. I want one of those toys.
You know what's great about you saying you want one? It's like looking at 6 Ferraris right there.
Yeah.
Guess what? We all want Ferraris. Hopefully the Lions can grab one.